Well, it's been about a week and a half since the violent shooting at that Sikh temple in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, in which 6 people were killed and several others injured. And since that time, there have been some shows of support for the Muslim community there. But there has also been a dramatic surge of violent activity and harassment directed at places of worship since that time. The American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee is reporting that in total, there have been nearly a dozen cases of attacks just in the last couple of weeks. This includes a mosque in Joplin, Missouri, burned to the ground, an air rifle fired at the Muslim Education Center in Illinois, where 500 people were inside, no one injured in that case, a homemade bomb launched at a private Islamic school, and vandalism at various mosques around the country. I want to talk more about the implications of this with Abed Ayoub, legal director for the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee. He's actually in Dearborn, Michigan right now. And Abed, from what I understand, you're in Dearborn responding to an incident that took place in the mosque there. That mosque, one of the biggest, if not the biggest in the country. Talk about what happened there and what's been the reaction.
Well, actually, the reason I'm in Dearborn is there was an incident at the mosque at the Islamic Center. And those incidents involved some harassment and some threats. But more troubling, there was also an incident here in Dearborn at a local church, which has a predominantly Arab American and Middle Eastern congregation. They did receive some threats, and there was some vandalism done to the building as well. So we're starting to see the threats come to all places of worship where Arab Americans congregate, and that's very troubling and very alarming. And as our release indicated, and as we have been stating, these incidents are to be taken seriously, and there is no such thing as a light harassment or something that should not be taken seriously. So they're definitely troubling. They're definitely something that's very alarming for us.
Abed, why do you feel that this has been the case? Just this recent surge in violent activity against Muslim worship sites, especially considering what happened?
Well, I think the case could be made that these attacks have occurred, and the surge is continuing to occur because of the political rhetoric and the culture of violence and hate that's being exhibited by certain politicians, and that's being exhibited by those seeking political gain. And that's the most troubling part. We have individuals such as Congresswoman Bachmann, Congressman Joe Walsh from Illinois, who are really demonizing the community, who are really perpetrating out there that this, Muslim Americans are not to be trusted, Muslims are not to be part of this fabric. And when their constituents are listening and when their followers are listening, we're starting to see a direct impact. And those are the incidences and the crimes that have been exhibited again over the past few weeks. It's no coincidence that, Representative Joe Walsh made comments last week that Muslims want to kill Americans or try to kill Americans every week. And he has 2 incidences, one near a district of his and one within his district of a bomb thrown at a Muslim school. So
that's right. And really quick, for our viewers who don't know, we mentioned this incident, this homemade bomb launched at a private Islamic school. It happened in the 8th Congressional District in Illinois. Again, the same district where Congressman Joe Walsh is running for re-election. And Walsh seems to be not only not concerned with the violence, he's more concerned about what he calls is, a different kind of dangerous threat. And really quick, Abed, I want to play a little bit about what he said.
There are radical Islamists right here in the United States trying to kill Americans and destroy this country.
So talk about statements like this.
I mean, those are probably the most extreme and bigoted statements out there. Those statements should not be made. Politicians must first, elected politicians, those that are currently serving in Congress, need to have much more respect for the position they hold. They need to understand that they are representing this country. They are elected by their constituents. They are elected by the community. And they need to hold this office to the highest respect. So when they're speaking in this tone and when they're speaking this dialect and doing their best to promote hate and promote violence in this country, it's not what's best for America. It's not what's best for Americans. So this type of hate, this type of rhetoric has no place in our national discourse, has no place in politics, and should be completely condemned by politicians alike and by the community and society alike. And I promise there are going to be more attacks. There's going to be more incidences throughout the next few months as long as this rhetoric continues. Again, there's no place for this in our national discourse, and it should not be coming from a politician.
But I should point out, Abed, you know, a pattern that I've seen, and you mentioned Congresswoman Bachmann, she has done this, Congressman Walsh, Homeland Security Committee, committees, you know, in Congress here in Washington dealing with the safety and security of the United States. People on this community, the lawmakers on this committee, are privy to information that the general public is not. And it's something that people like to throw out there. Well, we have information that the American people, you know, we can't tell you the details, but we have information that says that there is, you know, a dangerous Muslim community here. Talk a little bit about why you see this as a pattern.
It's certainly a pattern for the simple fact that they are gaining political advantage and a political gain from this. When you look at individuals such as Bachmann, Alan West from Florida, Representative Joe Walsh, they live and thrive off these comments. They live and thrive off the politics of fear and hate. And they always need a bad guy. They always need the other. And it's this politics of fear and this culture of violence and hate, which is helping them fundraise. It's helping them get reelected into office. It's helping them, you know, move forward with their political careers. And it's very unfortunate, and it needs to stop immediately.
Yeah, it's interesting. You didn't hear anyone talking about the need to crack down on white supremacists, even though that was what was found. That was who was found to be behind the shooting in the Sikh temple. But real quick, Abed, while I have you, I want to switch gears. Yesterday, a federal judge threw out a lawsuit against the FBI over the spying on Muslims while attending prayer in Orange County, California. The judge said allowing the suit to go forward would risk divulging sensitive state secrets. Now, many of the people we've spoken to in Orange County say they almost feel betrayed by their own government as a result. What do you think is going on here?
I think many of those comments and those individuals of feelings of betrayment are absolutely accurate. There are many in the community that do feel betrayed in the government. These law enforcement agencies are there to protect us. And time after time, over the past few years, we've seen many examples where the contrary has happened. We've seen many examples and heard of many examples of illegal surveillance. We've heard of infiltration of the mosque and the use of agent provocateurs. So we need the facts, we need the details, and we need to know what's going on. And we had faith in the court system that these details and these facts could be provided and still balance national security. So using the excuse of national security does not suffice. There are ways around national security measures, and there are ways to ensure that the nation is protected without losing our civil rights and losing our protections. And we would have hoped that the court would have taken those into effect. And we'll just look forward to how this case proceeds and whether or not there's an appeal.
Abed, you have said you fear there will be more attacks. As you mentioned, there were already a dozen. You fear there will be more. What do you do? What does your organization do and regular people do moving forward in terms of, you know, being cautious, in terms of trying to deal with this and prevent it?
Well, I think the first thing you said is very important. That is to stay cautious. That is to be aware of your surroundings. Make sure that the mosque or the place of worship does have protections. Reach out to local law enforcement, whether it's the local sheriff department or the local police department, to protect the congregation, particularly around Friday prayer and particularly around Eid, where large volumes and large crowds are expected. As far as from our end as ADC, we offer a number of services. We can, you know, provide you and provide mosques with steps to take to ensure there is protection. We could also provide contacts with the law enforcement to make sure that protection is in place. And general advice. We're there to offer general advice and a good number of resources for the community. And in the incident something does happen or something does occur, we are also there to help move forward and rectifying the situation and ensuring those that did commit the hate crime or attack are apprehended and prosecuted. So that's what our role is, and we hope we don't have to exercise our practice, but you know, right now the way things are looking, we do fear that there will be more attacks soon.
All right, Abed Ayoub, Legal Director for the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, joining us from Dearborn, Michigan. Thanks so much.
Thank you.